The following program is paid for by the Real Estate Radio Network.
You're listening to Real Estate Radio Fresno on News Talk 580 KMJ. Now, live in studio, your host, local real estate expert, Craig Barton.
Good morning, Central Valley. I'm your host, Craig Barton, and welcome to the Real Estate Radio Network, the most important hour of radio each week here on News Talk 580 KMJ. Real Estate Radio is a show dedicated to bringing you some rational thought to this crazy world that we live in and helping you to rebuild the Central Valley's housing and credit markets. Within every market, there are solutions, as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted advice, and that is exactly what you are going to hear here every Saturday morning at 4 a.m. right here on News Talk 580 KMJ. Thanks so much for joining us. As always, it is so good. It's good to have you back from assignment. I told everybody last week that you were out on assignment, scouring the world for real estate, scouring the countryside for real estate stories.
I was.
You were? Anything to report?
The long sales continue. The long sales.
The long sales.
Long sales.
Well, you know, ironic.
They have short sales and they have long sales.
So
I do. So I think we should talk about a little bit maybe later.
Let's address that.
Okay.
Can
and can I just tell you, I really, really missed being here. And one of my buddies told me, Craig, and I put this on your Facebook. I don't know if you noticed it. They said I have the face for radio.
For radio.
Mm-hmm.
And
His friend, Mr. Smith, told me that.
And that was a compliment, right?
You know, I thought so. I did. So I just wanted you to know I was very honored that you would invite me back to co-host your show because I do have the face for radio.
Well, when we get off the air, I think you and I should have a conversation. Maybe we should talk about that and explain maybe.
Okay.
All right, moving right along. Thanks so much for having our special guest host, Michelle Pettis-Cavalli. Formal introduction back here in the studio.
Michelle. Real estate.
We'll cover that in just a second. Michelle is a licensed realtor and a trusted local professional. Michelle, as always, it's great to have you back back from assignment.
Thank you, baby.
The beauty of Real Estate Radio,
again,
I always chuckle.
I know, because it's me, the beauty of radio.
Yes, the beauty of Real Estate Radio Network is that it gives us the opportunity to reach so many people efficiently for 1 full hour each and every week. Our goal is to get you the timely and accurate truth about your real estate. It is your real estate market.
It's my market. Don't mess with it.
You better believe it.
That's
so
right.
we, Michelle and I, can help bring you back home.
I feel like there should be some soft little music. Da-da-da-da-da. Bring you back home.
Like Hallmark classic music.
Yeah, live, love, laugh. You know, one of those little signs.
I
bring
agree.
you back home.
I agree. It would really help to kind of.
We're going to talk to Johnny about that.
Okay, John. On today's show, we're going to take a closer look at short sales, the process of short sales.
I did some research
and the consequences of short sales as well. Are they a good thing for our marketplace? And what is being done both at the state and federal level to help speed up the short sale process while at the same time increase the success of short sales? Important questions to ask. We're going to try to answer these and many more questions later in our show. Make sure that you stay with us. Well, if you have any real estate or real estate financing related questions or questions regarding the information that you hear on our show, please call us anytime. 800-979-3958. Again, 800-979-3958. You can also check out our resources online at reofresnohomes.com. Or, Michelle, use press 4 keyword KMJ, call Craig.
I'm sorry. I was trying to. There. See, I was slow.
Oh, okay.
KMJ, call Craig. She's arguing with me.
You have said KMJ, call Craig.
She was arguing with me.
She was arguing with. She's an overtalker. She was.
There I go. There I go. I'm on your phone. Nice.
Yeah.
Love it.
Use press 4 keyword KMJ, call Craig to get connected directly to our show. We would love to hear from you. Well, you heard me say press 4 keyword KMJ, call Craig. Well, we want to help show you that you'll only need one button for the rest of your life. What is press 4, you may ask? Well, press 4 is for all of those times that you're away from your computer and listening to our show. Now you can get exactly what you want with just one simple push of a button on your mobile phone. Well, how do you get Press 4? Just go to the Press 4 website at press4.com. That's Press, the number 4.com. And follow the easy setup instructions. Press 4 will work on any phone, iPhone, Android, BlackBerry, Windows Phone, and even those not so smart phones. Did you hear Tim upgrade it? Oh, no, you helped Tim upgrade.
Yeah, I helped Tim upgrade. He's like, how do I get press 4? It was so awesome, though. It was really cute. And additionally, I would like to know how many people have loaded this software since we've started talking.
Do you want me to look into that?
Yeah. I think our 11 million viewers are right there with us. I mean, outside of the calls we already get through Press 4, I'd really be curious to know anybody who's just not called me or you on it, who has it on their phone now.
Well, with all the calls that we get, I'd be surprised that it wasn't close to that 11 million.
I think all 11 million have loaded it.
There you go. Well, during our show, you're going to hear us say things like, to call into the show, just use Press 4 keyword.
KMJ, call Craig.
And in this particular example, your phone will call directly into our show. One button can really do it all. Or we will say, just use Press 4 keyword.
KMJ, HUD, Homes.
Sorry, I was trying to overtalk on you there.
That's all right. I like the acronym HUD, HUD, you know.
And we'll send more information about HUD Homes right to your phone. Well, now it's time to find your new home. Michelle?
Call me.
Are you looking for just call you?
Just call me.
Just call
me? Yeah.
That's all.
That's all. Call me.
We've been talking about this particular segment of how we educate buyers when it comes time to finding your new home. Well, how are you searching for your new home? Pack up the car, honey. We're going to go catch us a home.
You know what? They don't just do that, though. I mean, I love my buyers. I respectfully love my buyers. They also internet
sounds like there's coming
scour.
Up,
but they internet scour all of these sites, Trulio, Zillow, all these different sites, and unfortunately, a lot of them don't have accurate, up-to-date information. So it is.
You hit it right on the
challenge.
It's extremely important to make sure that our clients, our buyers, don't spin wildly. And I say spin because that's exactly what ends up happening. With all the information that you're able to find out on the internet, you go to Realtor.com, you go to Trulia, you go to Zillow, you go to some of the other local real estate companies, go to their websites. It's extremely, extremely important to note. You want to make sure that the information that you're going to find on the internet is accurate and timely. In other words,
updated.
That it's
correct.
Timely, exactly.
Yeah.
So what we find is that some of those websites, like Trulia, like Zillow, like Red Door, like Movoto, not all that information is necessarily up to date. So I had a client. Quick story. Had a client that I met. Actually, had the opportunity to talk with her after we got off the air a couple weeks ago, and she was kind of spinning wildly. She's really high energy. Her and her husband, super cute younger couple.
Must be my sister.
Must be your sister. Exactly. She's the beauty of the
real estate. Yeah. The buyers.
Yeah. Well, it has been an evolving process over the last 2 weeks because she was spinning, and then as the relationship has begun to develop, she's spinning less because I'm able to reach her and help show her how to be more efficient in the home searching process. So she came to me and said, help me.
Yeah.
Help me be more efficient.
So you've grounded her with real information.
And pulled her back a little bit and now set the expectation as far as how to set up the search. Well, if you like to drive the bus, there really is an easier way. You can go to our website, our resources online at reofresnohomes.com, and go to the right-hand side of the page about halfway down to the Find Your New Home, sign up, tell the search engine exactly what you want to see.
And they're going to get the same information that an agent gets.
Correct.
Accurately out of our realtor systems that we all utilize, which is amazing.
It pulls it directly from MLS. Now, let me take it a step further. If you'd like the search to be a little more refined, because you'd like to live north of this particular street or east of this particular street.
Or I want a particular high school.
Exactly.
Right.
Michelle can dial that in for you. Yes, you can.
I can.
You can.
I did take the class on that. I can. I have to say that is such a useful tool that people don't even realize. For instance, let me just give a for instance. My children go to school in Fowler. There's not a lot of property that lists in Fowler. And I have quite a few clients who are curious about Fowler. I can actually do by just that little community, just the school. I mean, we can narrow it down to a particular street, neighborhood,
price
whatever
point,
the client
bed, bath
needs.
Count.
Exactly. And I think that they don't realize how detailed that can get for them. And that's exactly how you do it. You talk to one of us, and we get you set up so you can get that information daily.
And in today's busy world, it's extremely important. We all need to be as efficient as we possibly can. We need to get timely information with regards to what is active, what is pending.
Right.
Now, keep in mind, you may see something that comes to you from this search as a buyer, and we will always prep you for these few things. Once you see a property, if you like it, drive it.
Drive that neighborhood.
And drive it a couple of
Drive it at evening time.
Yeah.
I really do. Drive it in the daylight. See if it's clean. See if it's what you want. See if it works. Whether it's a rental you're buying or your own home, and then drive it at night.
Certainly.
I have quite a few out of town clients. I say drive it at night. You really know
you get a greater
who's
feel
prowling
for the
a neighborhood.
For what
It's true though. It's true.
What's going on in that
Yeah,
neighborhood?
because drug dealers and whatnot, they sleep in.
Wow. So you did go there. Wow.
I'm sorry. I just had to. I mean, drug dealers and, they sleep in. They're out late. So they'll be out in the evening. You can check it out. Do you want these people near your children? You definitely want to know that neighborhood.
All righty. Well, let's transition.
All right. Sorry. Moving right along.
Let's give out a little information here so we can get off the drug dealer.
Yeah, the criminal activity.
The criminal activity in the neighborhood. It is important to drive the neighborhoods at night.
Yeah,
you are very correct.
And which takes us to our next.
If you'd like us to set that search, yeah, exactly. Let's please. What happened to Craig? He just left the studio. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Went running from the burning building. If you'd like us to if you'd like us to help set that search up, Michelle, set that search up for you. Give us a call 800-979-3958, or use press 4 keyword
KMJ. Call Valley Y.
And Michelle. We'll get you right in contact with Michelle, and she can set that search up for you.
I hope that doesn't scare anyone.
No.
I really, truly will help them. I promise. You will not.
I know you will.
Dissatisfied.
I know you will. Well, today's hot property feature, 3 weeks in a row.
Did the other one go into escrow?
Oh, my gosh.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
First, it started with Cougar Lane and the fireworks.
Yeah, it sure did.
We're back in Clovis today.
Yeah, we are back in Clovis. Today's hot property is located at 430 Pierce Drive in Clovis. It is a 4-bedroom, 3-bath home, 2,591 square foot. It is a 2-story home built in 1986. Also does have a pool.
Nice.
This is a HUD home, and we talked about a HUD home means the Department of Housing and Urban Development is the legal owner of the property. The previous owners, unfortunately, lost the property. They had FHA financing on it. All this and Clovis Unified for only $230,000, less than $100 a square foot easily.
That's awesome.
If you'd like more information about today's hot property, please give us a call 800-979-3958, or use press 4 keyword
KMJ Hot Property,
and we'll send you more information about this hot property
Look
right
at
to
your
your phone.
It's ringing nonstop. Oh my gosh!
I need to have somebody answering our phone.
I think we need to while we're on the show.
While we're in the studio. You know what? What an idea.
I love that idea.
Taking call-ins. Yeah.
I'll take turns with
Will
you.
you get working on that for me?
Yeah, okay.
We'll send more information about this hot property right to your phone. Look for more hot properties each week right here on the Real Estate Radio Network. Well, this is an update from a story that we've done last week, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, because it is a hot topic.
Well, we are in real estate.
We are in
Cyclic,
real estate.
it's evolving, it's constantly moving.
Ebbing and flowing. Well, we're talking about HARP 2.0. That's the Home Affordable Refinance Program 2.0. It is the older stepbrother to HARP 1.0. And we want to recap the significance of this particular program because it does affect those folks that currently own more on their primary residence, second home, or investment property. Now, the Home Affordable Refinance Program is a program created by the Federal Housing Finance Agency, and it's now been upgraded. Well, what is the upgrade with HARP 2.0? It gives you the ability to be able to refinance regardless of your loan-to-value. But I want to make sure that I stress this is not a free-for-all. This is not the program is good. The intent is good. But what we are finding is that can you lower your rate? Most definitely. Can you shorten your term? Most definitely. Can you do it if it's owner-occupied second home or non-owner? Most definitely. Here's some of the quirky parts about HARP 2.0. Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac owned. So that is a Fannie Mae conventional loan or a Freddie Mac owned conventional loan. How do you determine if your loan is owned by Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac? Well, all you have to do is contact us, and I'll state it again. Just call us, 800-979-3958. Or you can use press 4 keyword KMJ HARP 2.0, and we'll send more information about HARP 2.0 directly to your phone. Well, If it is a situation where your loan is not owned by Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, unfortunately, this program does not cover you. I just had a client yesterday morning instant messaged me on Facebook, a guy that I went to high school with, really good friend, and he says, hey, is there, talk to me about the new government program, HARP 2.0, yada, yada, yada. We went online, checked. Neither of his loans are owned by Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. So he says, so what does that mean to me? Unfortunately, you're out in the cold.
Wow.
Unfortunately, there is nothing that really can be done. I said, contact your servicer. Have you done that? And he says, yeah, I contacted him.
And the frustration for those of us in the marketplace and in the business is that we hear politicians and whatnot, screaming the wonders of these programs that they're coming out with, and they're just not available to everybody yet.
Right. It is. I hate to say it. It's somewhat of a drop in the bucket because it doesn't go all the way to help us solving our problem. Well, slowly what we're seeing is that as these guidelines are rolled out, the guidelines are being capped. They're supposed to be an unlimited loan to value. Unfortunately, it's being capped. It's being capped at 125%. That was what we were guessing early on, and it's not so much the secondary market that is having that reaction. It is the warehouse lines of credit that.
Okay, wait, slow down.
Okay.
Because I don't understand that term.
So you have a wholesaler.
Okay. Warehouse lines of credit, you said.
Valley White has a mortgage division. We submit a package to a wholesaler.
Okay.
A wholesaler funds that loan off of their warehouse line of credit. It's typically pre-approved with someone that they do business with, and that loan is then sold to them.
Okay, that's the line of credit you're speaking of. Okay.
Correct.
I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, no.
The terminology.
If you have
I'm a layman.
Remember what we said. If you have the question, there's millions of our other listeners that.
Most people are 8th grade level. I'm more like 5th.
Okay. Well,
I did beat the 5th grader last time. Okay.
You did beat.
Smarter than a 5th grader. Not much though.
What we're finding is the secondary market. It's not the secondary market per se. That could be the scapegoat, but what we are seeing is that the warehouse lines of credit that are funding those loans for those wholesalers is not wanting to. The logic is they don't want to get stuck with something where they're doing a $200,000 loan for a property that really, truly market value is $100,000. Right. They don't want to potentially, because the
they
risk,
don't want to eat it.
There's liability there.
Sure.
If they can't sell that loan, guess what? They've got an upside down.
Right. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't
Here,
make
Craig,
sense.
let me sell you a piece of bubble gum that I paid a penny for. You're going to pay 2 pennies, but I only had to pay a penny for it.
Yeah, so
same thing.
Each and every day, and every week, we get greater information with regards to how the secondary market is reacting to this. It appears that the wholesalers, there's some lenders that are not even touching this. There's some lenders that are saying, you know what, we don't want to have anything to do with it. Or we're still going to cap it at 105 or 125%, which is exactly where they were at with HARP 1.0. For sure, we will see in the weeks to come, this may or may not change. It may stay status quo, but we want to make sure that we keep you up to date with regards to what's going on with regards to HARP 2.0.
I did want to mention, though, the one thing that I find so interesting is you mentioned non-owner occupant and owners of second homes.
Yep.
Because I think those are the number one phone calls that we get, because so many people in the booming economics took some new ventures out into real estate or bought a second home for their family at the beach or in the mountains or somewhere. Those are the folks who are really trying to figure out how to maneuver this outside of our regular everyday family.
And hang on to what they've got. I will say this. For those of our listeners, if you do have a mortgage with Bank of America or Union Bank that's being serviced, and they still, not only do they maintain the servicing rights, but they also still are the underlying owner of that note, contact them. If you're upside down and you want to refinance or attempt to refinance, contact them because and tell them that we sent you.
Yeah, absolutely.
because it could be a good thing for you. I just heard Sal works with some folks over at Bank of America and said one of my investors refinanced his primary and 4 rental properties, taking a tremendous amount of stress from his monthly outgo each and every month. So
it's a conversation that needs to happen, and those banks need to hear what consumers need, want, and how they can work with the consumers. Because I don't think consumers want to walk away.
Well, if they're able to make the payments, they don't necessarily want to, and they don't want, and they haven't experienced some sort of hardship. They don't want to ruin their credit, because their financial future could be scarred for quite some time. Again, if you'd like more information about what we're talking about, HARP 2.0, and you'd like us to help determine if your loan is eligible or owned by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, again, call us, 800-979-3958, or use press 4 keyword
KMJ HARP 2.0.
and we'll send you more information about HARP 2.0 right to your phone. Well, after the break, we are going to continue talking about short sales. This is going to be action-packed and a lot of information. So make sure you stay with us. You are listening to the Real Estate Radio Network here on News Talk 580 KMJ.
This program is brought to you by the Real Estate Radio Network. Visit realestateradio.us for more info. That's realestateradio.us.
Thinking about buying a home? Find out how the HUD Home Store can help you. Visit HUDHomestore.com. Look at HUD homes available for sale near you or nationwide. Why HUD Home Store? HUD will pay up to 3% of the buyer's closing cost. The price of the home is based on an FHA as-is appraisal, which is already completed, saving you an average of $400. And there is an owner-occupant priority bidding period during the first 30 days. Want to know more? Visit HUDHomestore.com.
Mortgage interest rates are at historic lows, and there's never been a more affordable time to buy real estate. Whether you're looking for your first home, moving up, or your next income-producing property, let the mortgage professionals at Valley White help. Valley White Homes has been helping homeowners with their mortgage needs since 1997. When it comes to the Valley's real estate, we know our way around the neighborhood. Call toll-free, 800-979-3958, and put the seasoned professionals at Valley White Homes to work for you. Valley White Homes, NMLS number 342062, 235-952, California Department of Real Estate License 0122-8460.
You're listening to Real Estate Radio Network with local expert Craig Barton. Now, here's Craig.
Well, before the break, we were talking about HARP 2.0. Now we're going to transition ever so politely to talking in greater detail about short sales. Well, let's, you know how I am with my definitions. Wikipedia is my all-time favorite.
And is that where you got this definition?
Well, okay, maybe.
And I like that the keywords that could be confusing are underlined.
I can't take credit for that. That's all predetermined.
Okay.
Well, a short sale, you might ask, is the sale of real estate in which proceeds from selling the property will fall short of the balance of debts secured by liens against the property, and the property owner cannot afford to repay those liens or their full amounts, whereby the lien holders agree to release their lien on the real estate and accept less than the amount owed on the debt. Any unpaid balance owed to the creditors is known as a deficiency.
Do we need to go back through vocabulary? We're good.
No, I think we're good.
Okay, good.
Even the ones that are underlined and that.
Okay.
Nothing. No
Deficiency. We all know what a deficiency is.
We know what a deficiency is. So a short sale is often used as an alternative to foreclosure, but it mitigates additional fees, or I should say because it mitigates additional fees and costs to both the creditor and the borrower. However, both will often result in a negative credit report against the property owner. Okay. Well, a short sale as a foreclosure alternative does mean that it is, and I'm sure there are statistics out there, and I know there is, a more profitable solution to the servicers, to the actual underlying owners of those notes, than going through the process of foreclosure. Now, to help give you perspective, in Fresno County, the week of March 19th through the 23rd, there was roughly 1,625 listings. Again,
changes every day.
It changes every single day,
right,
based
every
upon
moment.
what goes into contract,
right.
based upon what closes, based upon what comes active on the market. Important to note, we're about 1,000 listings less than what we trended for the same 12-month period a year ago.
A couple hundred just from a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
awesome.
It's a huge supply and demand takes over. It's a very competitive market, multiple offers in most situations. Well, 417 of these 1,625 listings are short sales. That accounts for 25.6%. And if you look at, we looked at the numbers of
yeah, a few weeks ago I made the wrong
correlation
of percentage. I felt like an idiot. I think I said, oh, it's 25%, when really it was like 32 or, you know. Anyway, so I'm glad you put the percentage. Thank you for that.
Rounding up.
I don't have a calculator.
Well, I did this. I would have had to have taken my shoes off because my longhand
Didn't work.
division not very good. Well, from home sellers, buyers, and real estate brokers hoping for breakthroughs on simplifying the short sale transaction and timelines, this may not be the proverbial silver bullet, but it definitely provides positive news. Now, the agency that controls Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac has a serious effort underway to remove or minimize some of the hurdles and to put those changes in the field as soon as possible. Well, officials at the Federal Housing Finance Agency, the folks who now make the rules governing millions, and I say millions of mortgages at both Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, told us last week that they are actively seeking input from lenders, servicers, realtors, investors, and housing counselors about how to speed up short sales on loans connected with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Well, how can we speed up the process? Well, the National Association of Realtors officials who have already met with the agency's special short sale task force confirmed that the effort is for real and promise potentially significant reforms, shortening that timeline. Well, Federal Housing and Finance Agency officials also say that their deadline to wrap up their review of short sale obstacles is June 30th. That's coming up. That's coming up here real fast. And they plan to announce detailed improvements to the process no later than September 30th. Given the sheer size of the company's portfolios, Fannie and Freddie, plus the estimated 1.7 million additional loans expected on the foreclosure conveyor belt at Fannie and Freddie in the coming several years, any substantial improvements could have wide-ranging benefits for everyone involved. So, go ahead.
No, keep going.
Well, what I was going to say is, when you're looking at a short sale, it can be.
Yeah, that's where I kind of want to slow you down a little bit and ask some questions, because I'm a buying agent generally. I don't do a ton of listings. I like listings, but I don't. I'm really focused on the buyer. So my showings of properties, I know that I hear people in the marketplace not wanting to show short sales, and in some cases I will not lie. Short sales can be more difficult if there is a resider in the home at times to coordinate an appointment. So they have some of those struggles as an agent. But what are the hurdles that they are most trying to get through? Are we going in? Did you go into that a little bit?
Funny you should ask, because we're actually
that's not in your notes. So I mean, there's no bullet to tell me that. So I just want to slow you down and make sure that we're covering that, because I think that becomes the issue for the seller as well as the buyer.
Well, undoubtedly, as the market changes, there are things that nowadays people get spoiled. Me as a buyer's agent, or even a listing agent. But more so as a buyer's agent, you get spoiled that you can't just go to any property that's vacant and show it whenever you want to.
And it's clean and pretty, or
what do you mean you have to set up an appointment?
One or the other.
If it can be said, and should be said, that any property that's occupied by someone that is the owner of the property, it's much like having a caretaker there. It's a much better option than having the property be vacant.
I agree. Most definitely. They are in better condition. We can all agree on a general scale, than some of those HUDs and bank-owned properties. In many cases, a short sale's going to be well taken care of generally till the end.
Most definitely. Well, some of the obstacles that we see with regards to short sales, you are exactly right. Some agents don't like showing short sales just for the simple fact that they think that they are not short. They don't want to wait 90 days to get paid. And that's kind of a misnomer, because in the last 2 years, I've had short sales approved in as fast as 7 days. And that's from the time that the offer is accepted by the seller and then presented to the underlying investor of that particular note and subsequently approved. So you're looking at
a week, really, from the time it was submitted to the time we got the answer back.
It was a week.
Nice.
On the outside, I had one that was approved in roughly about 40 days. So still not that bad. From the time that the seller accepted the offer, short sale package is submitted, the negotiator got the file, did their valuation of the property, and then approved the short payoff on the lien. So roughly 40 days. Now, that doesn't mean that that's my little world.
Okay? Sure. And in our little world, if I see a short sale that's been on the market for a time and I have a client in that area, don't think I don't call that agent and say, what's your situation with that short sale?
Certainly.
Is it moving? Is it not moving? Where are we at?
And another question that I think is extremely important to note is that, is there an open notice of default on the property? Or where are we at as far as the property is concerned?
And tell me why that's important.
Well, it's important because you need to know, representing a buyer, where the seller is at in the process. I've seen it be a situation where the seller has not only had a notice of default filed, but it also has a notice of sale filed. You are literally moments away from that house going to auction at the courthouse steps when that's the case. So my point is this. Know where you're at in the process. Is the buyer delinquent as far as their payments are concerned? Is the seller. Buyers not getting a loan if they're delinquent on their payments.
Yeah, right.
Know where the seller's at. So important. And how long has it been? If they haven't been making payments, how long hasn't it been that they have been? You have to ask those difficult questions of the listing agent. And if the listing agent is offended, really, truly, that's their problem.
Right.
I don't find most agents are great to work with. I encountered an example last summer representing some clients, and I had asked the listing agent exactly that: is there an open notice of default? And they said yes. How long has it been since they've
stopped making the payment?
The seller's made a payment. Well, the notice of default was filed back and I just asked before I pulled up the information because we have access to all that.
Sure.
Well, they hadn't made a payment since January of 2009. Then they did, and so that's when the first notice of default was filed. Then they did a loan modification. They tried that. That was 9 months, and then it come to find out the notice of sale had not been filed, but Bank of America was the underlying lien holder on that particular sale. And guess what? Bank of America just, quote unquote, that's how it was. So I don't know whether it was true or not, but they said that Bank of America just instituted a policy on short sales that if the homeowner has not made a payment for a year,
it's gone.
That there is no postponement.
Okay, you just boom more
filing
down.
the notice the notice of trustee sale and then subsequently going to sell at the courthouse steps. Well, some of the issues that we find with short sales: second liens. If there are multiple liens on the property, not just a first but a second.
How does that affect our buyers?
Well, it doesn't so much affect the buyers because as a buyer's agent, you go in, you place an offer on the home. You want to make sure that offer is market, quote unquote. There's not any proverbial, quote unquote, deals that you can get, especially in a competitive market. You've got to be on market. Most short sale listing agents that you see are going to list properties for below market in hopes to create kind of an artificial auction type atmosphere, stir up some interest.
Sure.
But it's so much the responsibility of the agent that's representing that buyer to ensure. So is that a real number? And I tell every client, you have to make sure that you're paying attention to that number and understand that's just a number.
It is just a number. And many of them from those systems we discussed earlier are out there perusing the market, and they see a short sale.
And they think it's a deal.
And they think it's a great deal and it's real. And really, at the end of the day, they've got 10 offers, and the bank's reviewing. And it becomes
it's important to make sure that we want to make sure in most instances that our offer is considered to be a solid offer. It's all in how we structure the offer. We want to make sure that it's real, even though it's a situation that there's going to be a short payoff, whether there's one or multiple liens on the property. The seller and the listing agent are still trying to get, quote unquote, top dollar
market value,
because there's not that. Most servicers have a variation or a deviation that they are able to come off the price. If you offer 100 if you offer 95, let's use round numbers here.
Sure.
Again, I'm not that bright. That's full disclosure. And I need to use round numbers. If you offer 95 on a house that's worth $100,000. When the negotiator does their valuation and comes up with that $100,000 number, well, guess what?
They want
You're
$100,000.
If there's a 5% deviation, they can come off that price. They will.
Okay.
As long as we're within that.
Within
deviation.
reason.
But you add the other variable of competition in today's market. You can't offer 95 on that particular property because you've got to be competitive because there's 4 other offers.
Right.
So second liens can potentially be an issue. There is right at the moment. The FHFA is trying to secure a specific percentage that a maximum percentage that a junior lien can request as a payoff. Because if it's a situation where that property goes to foreclosure, that junior lien is wiped out.
Right.
And the senior lien is what's left.
Right.
And typically what's left and takes the property back. So what they're trying to establish is a maximum that is the higher of 6% or $6,000 allowable currently, but is attractive enough for any of those junior lien holders to say, you know what, we'll buy off on that.
Right. It gives them something. Sure.
Correct. Standardization of these rules is so critical. Establishing mandatory timelines in terms of how long we expect you. Basically, it would require servicers to respond within 45 days to any fully executed short sale offer. Needs to happen.
Are you seeing a extent of that, though? I mean, in our market here locally, there are some that have been pending out there for a long time because they're on short sale, but a lot of them are moving really quick right now.
Well, they're moving really quick, but I also see that on the backside, as far as the negotiation with the short sale lien holder or holders, that those are moving fairly quickly as well. So,
And maybe that goes back to where we're at as far as numbers, only having 17 listings on the market.
17.
I mean, really. I mean, that makes a difference as far as the volume of offers that are going on to each property. I mean, supply and demand. Those short sales are in demand right now, really.
And they are becoming more attractive simply because agents are being forced to take their buyers to look at. Yeah, exactly.
Like me. But I did want to mention, though, and this is more of a question on the financing side, Craig, and maybe you can help with this a little bit.
Happy to.
I do know that a lot of people have gone to foreclosure in the past. There are still those huge chunks of people out there with information who are considering short sale but don't know what to do. Do I stop making the payment?
Sure.
What is it? A person sitting in that situation, how do they start that process? Is it a conversation with the bank saying, hey, we're underwater? Or is it stopping your payment? Because I know in the past, a couple years back when this kind of nightmare of real estate began, people who were underwater stopped making the payments in order to start the conversation because the bank would not talk without being in arrears.
The landscape has most definitely evolved over time. And what you saw 5 or 6 years ago is what is a short sale? What is a short sale? What do you mean?
Right.
Those individuals that were back in the real estate industry back in the early 90s could tell you, it could define a short sale to you. Those of us that have been in the business less than 20 years or less than 15 years had no clue what a short sale is. It has definitely evolved. So that conversation, the landscape has gotten more complicated.
Yeah.
It most definitely has gotten more complicated.
So as a consumer, is my first point of contact an agent? Is it first your institution? What do you recommend?
I think
other than calling me, of course, so that I can hunt it down.
800-979-3958 and call.
I think they should be calling you on this one.
Well, having an open conversation with your servicer is definitely the place to start.
And that's what I would recommend. I just want to make sure I'm sending my folks to the right place when it comes to that.
Because at some point you have to ask the questions, and we're going to get to these later and detail these later as far as the show's concerned. We will talk specifically on what do you do? Do you just stop making your payments?
Cool.
It's important to have that conversation with your servicer because every servicer is going to be different.
I dealt with some folks not too long ago who had started a divorce, and they were upside down.
Yep.
And the bride went to the groom, as they were at the time, and said, hey, we need to short sell this property, blah, blah, blah. Groom wasn't interested.
Yeah.
3 days before it goes to auction, he contacts her and says, I'm thinking we need to do a short sale now. She's like, really?
Yeah.
I talked to you about this how long ago? And we couldn't.
Now's not the
so
time.
It was too late.
Yeah.
It's gone. Bye-bye. So
Exactly.
that's where we want to make sure our consumers aren't burying their heads in the sand and not dealing with the issues.
That's the most common issue that we find is that not having a place to turn, not having someone to turn to just to get some basic information.
Right.
That's why it's so important that we continue to have this conversation. We talk about HARP 2.0. If you have the ability to be able to refinance it and keep the property, great.
Let's do it.
If not, then let's have the conversation. And yes, it does help. You do have to have whoever's on title has got to be on page,
right?
Because it is a collaborative effort between whoever is on title,
right.
2, 3, 4 individuals. Everyone must be on page. Well, remember that these dates or these guidelines that we talked about, we're hoping that we're going to see June 30th, the recommendations made by the National Association of Realtors, and hopefully that by September 30th we will see something concrete in terms of actually streamlining these particular guidelines and helping ensure the success, ultimately, of short sales.
Nice.
Again, if you have any real estate or real estate financing-related questions or questions regarding the information that we cover here on the show today, we would so love to hear from you. Call us anytime, 800-979-3958, or check out our resources online at reofresnohomes.com, or just press for keyword
KMJ Call Craig
to call right into the show. Well, after the break, we're going to continue. I told you, this is all about short sales today. We're going to continue our closer look into short sales. And what is a short sale? And again, how does it affect you? Make sure you stay right here. You are not going to want to miss this. You are listening to the Real Estate Radio Network here on News Talk 580 KMJ.
This program is brought to you by the Real Estate Radio Network. Visit realestateradio.us for more info. That's realestateradio.us.
Thinking about buying a home? Find out how the HUD Home Store can help you. Visit HUDHomestore.com. Look at HUD homes available for sale near you or nationwide. Why HUD Home Store? HUD will pay up to 3% of the buyer's closing cost. The price of the home is based on an FHA as-is appraisal, which is already completed, saving you an average of $400. And there is an owner-occupant priority bidding period during the first 30 days. Want to know more? Visit HUDHomestore.com.
All it takes is one call to the professionals at Valleywide Homes, and you'll start building wealth in real estate. Whether you're looking for your first home, moving up, or your next income-producing investment property, let the experts at Valleywide Homes help. There's never been a better time to get into the real estate market. Visit our website at reofresnohomes.com or call toll-free 800-979-3958. That's 800-979-3958. And put the seasoned professionals of Valleywide Homes to work for you.
You're listening to Real Estate Radio Network with local expert Craig Barton. Now, here's Craig.
Well, before the break, we were talking about the National Association of Realtors trying to make recommendations to servicers and the federal government with regards to the timeliness or streamlining the guidelines as far as short sales were concerned. Well, one thing that's I think it's extremely important to note as part of the, and you heard we talked about this as soon as it came out a few weeks ago, as part of the $26 billion settlement that was brokered between the 49 states' attorneys generals and the federal government against the those five large banks, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citi, Ally Bank, formerly GMAC, and I think it was Chase. They are also required and mandated as part of that settlement to make sure they're monitoring the short sale process. Okay. So again, our listeners, if it is a situation where, let's say, and I mentioned it earlier, your home, your loan is not owned by Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. Again, if you need help determining that, call us. If it's not owned by Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, but is serviced by Bank of America, Wells, Chase, Citi, Ally Bank, formerly GMAC, you need to make sure that you are speaking with them. If you are deciding to short sale, and it is serviced by one of those entities, they are also required to maintain certain timelines, efficient timelines, as part of that settlement. So that's good news for those folks. Because hopefully, if they, number one, if they do decide, there's no stalling, there's no dragging their feet, and if there is, make sure you talk to Kamala Harris, the California State Attorney General. Talk with her office directly, and I'm sure that she would be happy to make sure that she advocates on your behalf to make sure that they are sticking with that broker agreement and the timelines that they agreed to. So there is undoubtedly a benefit of streamlining the process, making sure that benefits everyone in the process. Again, there's statistics. If the property goes to foreclosure, there's all sorts of drawbacks, whether it be a vacant property and it getting vandalized. Also, the servicers know that they're going to get less, or the underlying owner of that note knows that they are going to get less than had they short sold it up front. Now, isn't it interesting? Just a quick side note. Not even a side note, just a quick comment.
How about an important note?
Isn't it interesting? Again, 5-6 years ago, what's a short sale? I have no idea.
Right.
To today, where it's backing its way up the ladder, where initially you saw a huge amount of foreclosures hit the market, and now it's backing all the way up to, we see Bank of America contracting with independent third parties to actually contact those folks that are listing properties to say, hey, we will pay for an appraisal. I've received 3 or 4 of these phone calls. We will pay for an appraisal on your property. We want to help facilitate this. We want to help you with your short sale. Being proactive, I'm telling you, it is really, really great to see.
Well, and just on a side note, this one is side. On the HARP 2.0, it is exactly what folks were trying to do the 5 or 6 years ago that we discussed. They were trying to have a conversation in how can I make this mortgage affordable, and that's what they are trying to initiate with this HARP 2.0. It just isn't necessarily going back to that same servicer is the concern that the institutions have.
Right, and getting that.
But there was such news about fraud and whatnot in that particular those particular entities attempting to make those conversations and attempting to adjust payments for folks.
Sure.
And now they're trying to clean that up. So we're seeing a lot of progress.
Well, now there was not a whole lot of movement before. Now we're seeing movement. It's a great thing. It's a great thing for the market.
Conversations going
it's a step in the right direction, most definitely. Well, let's ask the question of our listeners. What if it is a situation that you owe more on your home than really what it is worth. Well, what are your options? Well, number one, keep making your payments. Obviously, if you can, and as long as there is no hardship as far as that goes.
And why is that important?
Well,
you're the lender. Talk to me. No, really, because I had this conversation with someone who owns multiple properties yesterday.
First and foremost, I never recommend that anyone stop making the payments as far as their mortgage is concerned.
Okay.
Even if it's a situation where you're going through a refinance, here's the deal. You keep making your payments. At no point in time will I ever, and I've always made sure that I counseled all of our folks that have worked for Valley White over the years, you always make sure that you make your payments regardless. If there's going to be a refund at some point, there's going to be a refund. I would rather it be a refund than you rely on someone because someone doesn't want to deliver the news and say, oh, no, go ahead and don't make your payment. But
because that's told a lot by people. So let's get clear, concise.
Certainly. So
continue the payment.
Keep making your payments as long as there's no hardship, no loss of job, no loss of wages, no
as long
loss
as
of
you're able
overtime.
to.
Exactly.
Okay.
Loss of income as far as losing a family member is concerned. We spoke about that last week with Gary Winter here from Transamerica Financial Services. Secondarily, if you can't make the payments or continue to maintain the payments, talk to your servicer. Talk to your servicer because before you can't make that full payment, talk to your servicer and ask your servicer about options. What are the options as far as, can you help me? Can you reduce my interest rate? What is it that you can help me do? Because I need solutions here. I need some relief.
Right. And let's be honest, the servicers, they want you to pay that bill. They want their money back within, they do.
Certainly.
They don't want to go to foreclosure.
Their job is to control delinquencies by, at all costs. Now, what if it's a situation where you can't make the payments? And this is the first payment that you've come to. Granted, whoever's on title, husband, wife, mother, brother, father, sister, whoever it is, has to be on the same page. Having that difficult conversation is extremely important to do sooner than later. And that's where I think most seriously, and I can't stress this enough, and you know who you are out there, that is where most people fail up front is, and I hate to say it like this, is because they try to hang on too long. They, as opposed to ripping the Band-Aid off and making it a business decision as opposed to an emotional decision, it just takes too long. And unfortunately, it ends up being too late.
And I think that comes from, the American way. Apple pie and buying a home. I mean, those are the things that we are told is success, to buy a home.
Exactly.
I think people feel failure when they get to that point, and
undoubtedly,
what do you call it? Well, he tells me this. Paralyzation.
Unfortunately, as far as
I'm having a technical difficulty, Craig. What do you call it when I'm paralyzed in the office?
Oh, analysis paralysis.
Analysis paralysis. Thank you. That's the term I'm looking for because I think that's where that comes from. People feel failure, so they just paralyze. They don't know what to do.
Right. It is it's human nature. There's no other way to explain it other than human nature. So what do you do at that point? If you've spoken with your servicer, if you can no longer make your payments, and even if there has been no hardship, then it's time to sit down with a real estate professional and have that conversation as to really what are my options.
Right.
And I was going to say this later in near the end as far as talking about short sales, but again, always consult your tax professional to ensure where are you at as far as the potential tax consequences.
Right.
And again, there are, for all of our listeners, there are potential tax consequences. Primarily, if it's a situation that you've actually gone through the process of refinancing your home, there are tax consequences, especially if you've pulled cash out and not for capital improvements. There are consequences of foreclosure and short sale.
And let's make it key. The conversations that need to happen, I mean, really, that's the point for today. Anybody who's in this situation or considering the situation or is potentially facing that situation, that's when they need to KMJ call Craig because, I mean, really, truly, you have the financial piece and really a great outlook on how they can prepare for the future, not just resolve this.
We are going to talk about that because it is not a situation that there is no light at the end of the tunnel.
Right.
You have to not only have someone that you feel comfortable with, that you know, that you like, that you trust, and hopefully our listeners have gotten the opportunity to know us, like us, and trust us.
Well, they like me. But,
well, thanks for including me.
I'm trying to get them to like it. No, I'm teasing Greg. But really, truly, it's a team. I mean, you mentioned agents. They need to contact a real estate professional, but that real estate professional needs to have a handle on finances.
Certainly.
Okay.
It definitely helps.
That was my point.
So if you can't refinance with HARP 2.0 and you can no longer make your payments, extremely important, sit down with us. Give us a give us a call, 800-979-3958, or use press 4 keyword KMJ call. Call Craig or
call Craig.
Valley. Yeah.
Call Valley White if you want to talk to an agent. Call Craig if you want to talk some finance.
Or let's throw something else out here real quick. What if you do owe too much? What is too much to owe on your home? And you really have to make that decision as far as, I owe $200, but the house is worth $100 right at the moment. What is really, truly too much? And that is a question that it's important that you have all the facts. It's important that you have all the variables, all the potential consequences, whether it be tax credit or otherwise. But what is too much? And only you, our listeners, can answer that question, because at some point, that's called a strategic foreclosure.
Right.
If you decide to walk away from a property, or that's a strategic. You have a choice. You have a choice to walk away.
And it's so key. And I think one of the things that you brought to the table is the team of people, the team of experts. I know we talked with Nancy, our CPA, a few weeks ago in regards to how she might be able to assist in this situation. Now, we've talked a little bit about how a lender can give them a roadmap. Okay, yeah, we're facing this now, but where are we going in the future? And then the agent to potentially help you list that property. So there's a team of people that you need to be working with to get you final success at the end. Most
definitely. And I think you hit it on the head. We've got that team for them.
Absolutely.
Any of our listeners, if they do have a question, and understand, we're humbled that you would, I really genuinely say this, we would be humbled that you ask the question. And it's really this is not a hard sale. This is not us trying to encourage folks to short sale their property. When does this become a business decision and not an emotional decision? And that's a very, very difficult question to address. And it's something difficult. It's something that's difficult to go through. It's usually the hardest point to reach. That realization in your mind that it is not an emotional decision. It's a business decision at this point. Now, so again, when is a short sale right for you? Hardship puts you typically over the edge, or is it a strategic foreclosure? You decide to actually walk away. We'd like to think that there's fewer consequences. I shouldn't say like to think. There are fewer consequences to a short sale than a strategic foreclosure. Now, you just touched on
the financing.
On the financing side.
On the future financing.
On the future
our
financing.
credit report.
Correct, exactly. So how long after a short sale can you buy a home again? And what if you're not late on your mortgage when your short sale closes? So I'm going to jump ahead real quick here. Can a servicer force you to be late when they're considering your request to short sale your home? And number one, the policy for requiring mortgage lates for a short sale really truly is up to the investor on each and every loan. And it's important to understand to our listeners the difference between the investor of the loan and the servicer. The underlying investor of the loan is the company, group, or other that owns the loan itself. They set the guidelines of how it is sold, transferred, or settled. The servicer, on the other hand, is the company that you're calling, and they may be two different entities. They're the company that you write the check to each and every month that you make your mortgage payment to. Now, they are companies such as Bank of America, Chase, Wells Fargo, etc. These companies, in some cases, own the loan, but in most cases just service the loan for the investor that actually owns the loan and must get investor approval before making any short sale decisions. Most investors these days are requiring a short sale seller to be at least 30 days late on their loan. I had one recently, and I went round and round with. It was One West Bank, and I said, you cannot force her to be late. You cannot. She's trying to do the right thing. I say the right thing, as right a thing as she possibly can.
Sure.
She's upside down immensely. Exactly. And she can no longer continue to come out of pocket each and every month on this particular property. And they said, no, we can't. And part of what it was is that the servicer for the underlying investor, they didn't that's the leverage that they felt that they needed in order to get the approval for the short sale.
Well, you know, what's unfortunate is somebody is relocating because of job, or if there is a marriage, a divorce, some family change. To be late isn't necessarily a priority. I mean, it isn't necessary.
Right.
And so that is, that's
so
not, that's not right.
Again, what if let's jump back a little bit. What if you're not late? If there's no lates prior to closing your short sale with FHA, there is no waiting period. Good to know. FHA constitutes a huge portion of financing options in today's market. Well, conventional, it's 2 years regardless of lates or not, and you must get a DU approval. For 2 years, at least 2 years out, you've got to put 20% down. 4 years after the short sale, you've got to put 10% down, and 7 years is normal loan to value, so you've got to wait 7 years. What if you're late before the short sale? Well, FHA is 3 years right now. So if you are late before the short sale or foreclosure, it's 3 years.
Okay.
Well, what can you expect from your servicer if you decide to do a short sale from your home? Potentially relocation assistance, and we've seen many different. I saw $23,000 on a short sale approval recently.
Wow.
It's going to be up to the servicer, all the way up to $25,000. Needless to say, this is a huge part of today's market, and having someone to turn to just to ask those questions is the hardest part. You definitely don't go to your neighbor.
No.
If you've got a real estate professional or a lending professional within your family, or it's hard to go to family to ask those difficult questions. If you don't know of someone, please do us the honor. Just call us, and we'll answer those questions. We'll line it out to you. If you need a tax professional, we can refer you to Nancy Ramos.
Right. It's all about education.
It is. It's all about getting the timely and accurate truth to help you through today's market. If you have any real estate or real estate financing related questions, give us a call, 800-979-3958, or check out our resources online, reofresnohomes.com, or use press 4 keyword
KMJ. Call Craig
to call us anytime. A big thank you to Michelle Pettis-Cavalli, my
anytime,
special.
my friend.
Please come back next week.
I'm a very special guest. I have the face for radio. Don't
there
forget.
You go. Exactly. Thanks so much, Johnny. Did a great job, buddy. He is the man behind the mics. He makes us look good. Our goal is to get you the timely and accurate truth about your local real estate market so we can help bring you back home. Don't forget to tune in next week, Real Estate Radio Network, next Saturday, 4 o'clock, bright and squirrely. Make it a great day, Central Valley, and we will see you next week.
The preceding program was paid for by the Real Estate Radio Network.